Hey guys, it's Thomas Guerra. Welcome to my YouTube channel. In this video I'm going to be taking a look at a new level 115 endgame context after the Mordor expansion comes out for Hunters. If you are new to the Hunter class, then this video may probably not be for you, as this expands upon the context of level 105. So let's take a look at what is no longer available to us. In the first place, there is no more super fleetness, because the Erebor Huntsman set has been made unavailable due to the fact that it has received a level 95 level cap. So there will no longer be super fleetness. Also the Erebor Bowmaster set for the extra critical magnitude buff for Bernhard is no longer available. Auroch set is also no longer available due to receiving a level 75 maximum level. However, that would not be viable anyway without the super fleetness. What is available, however, is the Dol Amroth Bernhard critical magnitude set. So that's this stuff right here. This two-piece gives critical damage increase to Bernhard, and this has received a maximum level of 115, which fits us just right for Mordor. So we can actually activate this, get our Bernhard off, go back, and you will see that Bernhard gives plus 25% bow critical multiplier. So that swappy is still available. Another swappy that is still available is the earring and ring combo from Karas Galadon, which gives plus 10% critical chance for 30 seconds after its activation. It's something that's interesting for if you start, if you have 5 minutes time between fighting and facing a boss fight, because it has a 5-minute cooldown before after you put it on. So that has not received a maximum level, though this is just beta and things may change. A lot of this video, the context may change about a lot of things. Now another thing that is still available but no longer viable is to use the Throne Tier 2 Bowmaster set for its 4-piece set bonus that gives focus bow skills the chance to reset the cooldown on Heartseeker, making it an instacast. So you see that there's no more Heartseeker in my rotation. The only reason the only place I would still be using Heartseeker perhaps would be in PvP, where I would be using my volley buff for it. But in PvE, I prefer using my volley buff for burning arrow. Barbed arrow, burning arrow, glowing arrow, you know what I mean? But in PvP, yeah. Otherwise, there is something else to say about that, and that is that there is a rumor, because I haven't seen any official statements or notes on this, but it's a very strong rumor and people really seem to believe it, so I'll just mention it anyway, that the armor drops from Osgiliath instances, which is Sunken Labyrinth, Ruined City and Dome of Stars, may be scaled to level 115 with level 115 statistics on them. So we still have to see how those statistics will scale, but they may scale to be actually pretty overpowered on things like agility and critical rating. I say overpowered, but I mean that, of course, in comparison to other armor, because we know they are like at level 105 you receive like 400 agility on one piece. Anyway, if that actually comes available again, then Heartseeker might find its way back into our rotations and onto our legacies and into our trait trees. Right now I have thrown it off, so let me show you my trait tree. Oh, before I do that, you know that at level 105 you had two major challenges when it came down to your hunter, which was your power game and your focus game. Focus game was dealt with mainly with that super fleetness, and of course making sure you have 30% crit chance. And the power game, there was a lot of stuff that we did to get that back. Now the power game, if you indeed still have things like Bow of the Righteous, if you have your Essence of the Powerful Draw, it is no longer like a huge issue the way it was. Lore Masters will be able to focus a little less on Hunter power heals. Reason for that is, let me show you my character panel. Look at the amount of fate I get without even having a single tome of fate. So this, I could boost this up to 560 fate more. I don't know when this armor will be available, how deep into the game it will be available. I'm not sure if it will be there immediately right off the bat, but I think not. But look at the in-combat power regen. We're talking about 5,501 in-combat power regen. Throw some extra fate on top of that, and you have yeah, more in-combat power regen than you can have more than your full amount of power back every minute just for your in-combat power regeneration. Not even talking about the Bow of the Righteous. So let me show you. No, let me show you my trait tree now. This is something I currently use. There are a few things that you might tweak about this, but essentially you receive 85 trait points, but actually it will be 86. I have one trait point too little because you get 3 trait points from leveling up. The current trait point cap at update 20 is 83, so 83 plus 3 is 86. So I have one too little trait points here. Anyway, what I've done is nowadays, because I would pretty much never go through an induction, I would just go for impact arrows instead of quick draw. But now with the focus game changing, I did go for quick draw, and you will find out that this is much more interesting for your DPS than going for this. And typically strong draw, typically Barbed Fury. I think I really love using damage overtime skills. This is what, even if you just use a burning arrow as your focus builder, as your main focus builder, then this is immediately worth it. Of course, this precision. I have maximized Blood Arrow, and I've gone for 3 points into Exsanguinate. Why I've done that, you will very quickly find out. Improvement and concentration, because I will be using this for some extra focus, and it will really help me to build up my power as well, so that I can be almost self-sustaining on power. Volley, Bow of the Righteous, same deal, just be as independent as possible in your power game. And Rapid Fire, absolutely worth it, in my opinion. There are a lot of hunters who, at current endgame, due to the limited amount of trait points you have, who would say, no, we really don't want Rapid Fire. We never have focus issues, which is nonsense, by the way. Never believe that. And we'd go just for Bodkin arrows. Then here in Redline, of course, True Shot and Critical Eye. Critical Eye is like, if you, I mean, you understand the importance of this. This is a must-have in every single situation as a hunter. Never, no excuse not to have this. This is the best trait you have in combination with Deadly Precision. Anyway, I've gotten like an excuse point in Press Onward. I don't know, some people would just say, I'll just go with Heartseeker. I mean, here I went with this one as well. Fast Draw to make Quick Shot have -10% bow induction, stacks up to be up to -30%. Because you see that Quick Shot has found its way into my rotation. More info on that, then of course Draw Weight, then of course Burn Hard, and I had 2 more points left to spend into Bodkin arrows. I could maybe try to free up some extra points to go a little further in Bodkin, but I'll have to figure out how to actually do that. See, and then here I went with Heartseeker, and that actually cost me an extra point in Bodkin anyway. But I did manage to save a point on Press Onward. It doesn't matter. What you see is one important thing. I went with Quick Shot. So what does that mean for your rotation? I'll show you in a moment. So it used to be at level 105 that the backbone of your rotation would be Barrage 3 Penetrating Shot. We will forget about Heartseeker now, as I do not have Heartseeker instacast gear on for the moment. But let me just go with this simple rotation. Barrage 3 Penetrating Shot. That is still the situation now. The only, way you would optimize that rotation is when Blood Arrow is on cooldown, you would go for Blood Arrow instead of Penetrating Shot. So it would be Barrage 3, Blood Arrow, Barrage 3. And if Blood Arrow would then activate Exsanguinate, you would go Barrage 3, Blood Arrow, Barrage 3, Exsanguinate, Barrage 3. That is pretty much how you still go about it. So that context is the exact same, except there are 2 different situations during your parse, and that is when your focus meter is filled to pretty much over half of the meter or under half of the meter. If it would go under half of the meter, the situation is different. Then I would go Barrage 3, Quick Shot, Barrage 3, and I would do that until the meter goes over half. There is a little different bottom line to this, and that is I would go Barrage 3, Barbed Arrow, Barrage 3, if the Barbed Arrow bleed is not active at the moment. I would aim to keep that Barbed Arrow bleed up on your target as much as possible. But if the Barbed Arrow bleed's still on there, I would just go Barrage 3 Quickshot Barrage 3, otherwise it's almost wasted, although I'm not entirely sure. It is probably more close to the truth that it is like after 2 or 3 bleeds of Barbed Arrow, it would be worth renewing it instead of going for the extremely low damaging Quickshot. Anyway, if I mean you do that stuff until your focus meter is over half, and then you go again to your classic high DPS rotation Barrage 3, Penetrating Shot Barrage 3 with the description that I gave you earlier. So in order to support this type of rotation the best I can, I'll show my legacies for now. There are a few bottom lines here. Now, first of all, I'll show you my main hand, I'm sorry. So what you see here isn't very surprising. By the way, of course, the maximum level of your legacies are 69 now, that's just a Mordor context. So it's a typical thing, plus 37% precision stance, critical magnitude, barrage damage, very nice bonus on that, by the way. Merciful shot is kind of, yeah, you know. I went for power restored by traded intent concentration instead of, well, I still have press onward cooldown on, but I might throw that off because the morale heal of press onward is so extremely nothing right now, unless they are going to buff this up. Look at my morale right now. This, I should tell you, is a glass cannon build. I have 56k morale in a glass cannon build, you see? And that should tell you everything you need to know about the uselessness of press onward as a morale heal skill. It's only useful for power heal, but I would much prefer going with intent concentration, which gives me not only more power, but also restores my full focus. So I went with extra fate with extra agility. Fate is perhaps the only main stat of all your main stats that has retained its full relevance purely due to that in combat and out of combat power regeneration, because 1 point of in combat power regeneration means the same at level 105 as it means at level 115. Whereas all the other stat contributions of all the other main stats, even agility, has been really decimated. So a lot of the Hunter context will depend on how much they will actually be scaling up the stats of different legacies, traits, and whatnot. Because as you can see in my Hunter legacies, I no longer have the legacy that gives, well, let me look at the right name for this. It's right here. Ranged skill evade chance. I would always choose that legacy at level 105 context. But minus, what is it at maximum level, minus 7,000 and something. Let me show you what the evade ratings look like in this context. There you go. This is 54,500 evade rating, and that is absolutely no anomaly. Sorry, it's right here. It's actually 60,000, you see? That is not an anomaly, and just knocking off 7,000 off of that will contribute almost nothing to your DPS. So you might as well just not go for it at all, but in my opinion, this legacy must absolutely be scaled up. So what I did was the typical Hunter damage over time, induction bow damage, focus bow, critical multiplier, induction bow, critical multiplier, focus bow, power cost. These are the legacies that you will probably find on your bow at the level 105 context. You see that focus bow power cost does not give a more power cost reduction at 69 than it did at 59. However, there is a rumor that I have not tested that upgrading it 10 further levels would, instead of reducing more focus bow power cost, would actually give a bonus to your focus bow damage. You see? And if that is true, then yeah, I mean, definitely go with this legacy if you wouldn't do it already. What is off of my bow is that evade rating, that target evade rating thing, and I have replaced it with just burn hot damage, because I was like, hey, if I can save myself a swappy, then that would save me like a second and a half in the middle of my parse if I would activate burn hot. What is also no longer here is a Heartseeker, but Heartseeker may find its way back. So instead of Heartseeker, I went with this one. Critical chance increase for quick shot. The reason why I go with something that at first sight is only like a DPS increase of a skill that has like absolutely no influence almost on your DPS rotation, no matter how often you use it, seems like a waste to go for a legacy that increases critical damage, critical chance. But the reason why I have this is because, of course, if it crits, I get an extra focus off of it. There is also an extra legacy that gives you plus 17% focus. That is a quick shot strength, or what is it? Strength, quick shot, slow, something like that. And if you upgrade it to like the far end of that legacy, it would give you plus 17% focus bonus for your quick shot. Plus 17 is better than plus 12.5, so it's really like, well, will I go for like, what will eventually give me the best DPS? I'm not sure. You could even combine both and just throw Bernhard off of it and put Bernhard in a swappy. That's maybe the way to go, to still put Bernhard in a swappy, and definitely if we're going to talk about the return of Heartseeker. That said, you could also go for this trait, by the way, or it's this one. Plus 20% quick shot bonus, focus, application chance. These are all possibilities. So yeah, there is definitely no reason, I think there is no reason to be afraid of the Hunter DPS decreasing in comparison to Runekeepers. I think what will depend there is the stats on the Osgiliath gear, because Runekeepers 2 have a big advantage from the Osgiliath gear, arguably even more important than getting Heartseek for us, is they get plus 2 dots on their bleed skills. And that is a big context change for Runekeepers, probably even more than instacast Heartseeker would be for us. Anyway, could you guess which, by the way, is the Hunter's absolute biggest damaging skill at level 115? It is actually Exsanguinate. On average, all of the attacks of Exsanguinate, which is 7 attacks, together, on average damage more than a Barrage 3 does on average. Of course, a Barrage 3 peaks much bigger, but it also is more damage even than all of the 6 attacks of Burning Arrow combined. So look at the bleed damage that this does, 9,000. Look at the bleach damage of Exsanguinate, 10,000 and something. So that should tell you already what you need to know, even though the base, I mean the first attack is a little smaller. In practice, Exsanguinate hits a lot harder than Barbed, Burning or Glowing Arrow. This has nothing to do, this has absolutely nothing to do with the fact that High Elves, because I have a High Elf here, have this skill, I guess plus 5% light type damage, because it's the exact same thing with Race of Man. If I slot it out, you will see that there is absolutely no damage difference here at all. I don't think this skill, sorry, this High Elf trait even influences Exsanguinate the way it should influence it. So let me put it back on. No, that's the wrong one. It's this one. Maybe it's just, is there a difference in the base skill damage? No, it is not. So yeah, don't know what's up with that. Anyway, as far as I know, there is also no influence from the High Elf plus 5% light type damage trait on your skills if you would apply a light oil. So a couple more things before I end this video. If I open my character panel, you will see that I am indeed using the Throne Tier 2 class item. I had it in my wallet, I transferred my shared items to Bullroarer, and I actually got it for this Hunter because, as far as I know, as far as I have seen and discovered, this is still the best option for a class item. The Doomfall tier crafted class item just doesn't even come close. This is minus 12% power cost, plus blah 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 morale, plus 404 agility. But it's also the fact that you have this essence slot in which you can slot your essence of the powerful draw. That makes it interesting because that means that any essence slots you have in your level 115 gear can be reserved for level 115 essences. So yeah, this is definitely something I'd say, you know, keep an eye on that. Maybe while you still can at level 105, run some Throne to make sure you can get this for your Hunter if your Hunter doesn't have this already. So this was Thomas Squera. Thank you for watching and see you in my next video.